Hey, welcome to another edition of the Peep Show Talk. And this will be our second vendor interview. And people responded pretty well to the first interview with Feral Fox. And we have another vendor today. And just before we get into it, standard disclaimer, I'm getting nothing for this. I'm not even getting a discount or no free products, anything like that. And also, I don't endorse any vendor. Any vendor that wants to come on here, please just let me know and we'll get you on the schedule. So, having said that, welcome, TJ Zackman.
How you doing?
Good, good. So, um, tell us about what you do in the military vehicle business.
So just really kind of grew up around it. Growing up with Jeeps and trucks and stuff like that. My family's always had them. My uncles, grandfathers, my father, um, and so it's always been kind of a hobby, kind of a family thing. We always went to MVPA meets and things like that. And it was probably about 5 years ago. We started working on and trying to finish the 45 MB that's behind me, to do as close to factory restoration as possible. So that's kind of where I really started getting into it more and more, to do kind of get into the details and stuff like that. All before that was just to have fun with it with my dad growing up and family and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
So with that, getting into the 45, just kind of really started doing a lot of research and things like that. And that's where I kind of grew a little bit more into it and grew my knowledge on everything.
Okay, so as a child, did you think that you would grow up and become like the radiator seal guy?
no,
Is that like a
no,
dream?
no. But it kind of it came out of a kind of a necessity doing the 45. Um, you know, when we started the restoration, my father and I did it. It was kind of, we're going to go 100% into this. My dad restores Jeeps and sells them and things like that, and we never did a full-on factory restoration. And the Jeep was incredibly original, had a lot of the original stuff to it.
Mm-hmm.
So I said, you know what, let's go 110% into this thing, and I want to do everything, right down to the hardware finish, how they oversprayed everything. So I spent a lot of years researching that, and then right towards the end, I was probably about 4 or 5 months out from, I was trying to finish the restoration to go to we brought it to the 2019 MVPA convention. And I was getting to that point where I was doing the grill, and I bought one or two of the available radiator seals, that are on the market now. And I did not like them at all. I felt like I was just putting carpet padding on my Jeep, and it just didn't go with all the details that I wanted. So I went out and tried to find original pictures of them, samples, and just so happened that right around the same time I was doing that, Nick Hopper restored our Jeep, our seats, and I got them in, and I noticed the material that he used looked very similar to the radiator seals, the original samples that I found in pictures.
Mm-hmm.
So he was very generous and sent me some scrap pieces that I could out, and I did it. I put them on it. We went to the show, we went to the convention, and I kept getting comment after comment after comment about what that material was. And then I just kind of ignored it for a while. And then it was right when COVID hit. I was going to be working from home, and I was like, well, I got to do something.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to have a lot of spare. Well, let me see if maybe somebody wants to buy them. I'll start making the kits. And, I expected maybe, make 10 kits here or there, whatever. It exploded. I did not expect the interest that I got out of it.
Mm-hmm.
Within 2 days of
How many
post up,
sets did you end up selling with that first run?
well, within the first 2 days, I had like 20 orders.
Wow.
And then I quickly realized after that it wasn't really a one size fits all. It turns out that there's 2 different slack grill styles, 2 different GPW styles, 2 different MB well, not styles, dimensions and little things about them that are different. And then I got into doing the MA, the Willys MA, CJ2As used them. So it all in all, World War II vehicles, there's 6 or 7 different types. So a lot of time to research that. And so with everything like I did with the 45, I wanted it to be correct. I didn't want to just kind of sell a one size fits all like you can get. So then it was probably about 6 months when I finally got all the pictures and the details and measurements from a lot of great people that helped me out that had original samples. And then, from there, I couldn't keep up. It was really amazing how many orders I got. And to date now, going on 2 years, here in March, I'm getting upwards of almost 300 sets that I've sold.
Wow.
So
that's fantastic.
Yeah, like I said, I was not expecting that to happen, and they're all handmade. I use a little crochet needle to pluck the material, and each one. So it's a little time consuming, but after doing 300 of them, I got pretty quick at it. So
yeah, it's funny. Like the first time I didn't know your name. Like I heard about there's the one guy who makes the radiator seals, and they're really, really good. That was maybe like a year ago, way before I got my slat. And then when I got my slat, I'm like, hey, I need seals for my radiator. Here, you're the guy, and you're like, okay, which kind of shield do you have? I'm like, the slat kind, and I didn't actually know until I took it off and cleaned it off exactly what it is. And so yeah, it seems like you've really done your homework, and it seems like you've got a good little part-time business going there.
Yeah, it was able to it's allowed me, of course I try to use the money I put towards my hobby with the Jeep and parts and stuff like that, but I use a lot of it to turn around and start making other things and kind of, I guess you would say, investing into certain things, other parts, other things that I need for my projects, which then turn into, well, I might as well go ahead and start selling them because somebody else might need them. So, and then it's helped me with, I'm helping my brother restore a 1942 CCW. And I've found that there's a lot of things that you can't get, or you can. I'm not really happy with it. So now I'm turning towards that and starting to look at different things for the trucks. That's how I kind of got into doing the stencils and stuff.
It's funny how you get into those things. Like I started making radio legs mostly just because I needed a set for myself, and I had access to an original set and made a set I made a couple sets originally because I figured I'd screw them up, and I figured I could at least get one good set out of the 3 that I started to make, and actually all 3 turned out, and I just kind of listed them for sale, and next thing you know, I've sold a dozen of them. So
yeah, and it just like a lot of people, I needed it. I wanted to do it my way, and I wanted to be as correct as possible. Not that what you get from other vendors isn't correct, but there's some details that I thought I could add to it, and just made it myself, and then found out there's a lot of other people that want it too.
Yeah, apparently 300 and 301 because I need a set for my slat. So, you mentioned that there may be some other things that you're making. What other things are you doing besides just the seals?
Yeah, so I got back here. So I got into making the manual envelopes, kind of printing them on these envelopes here. They're mainly for 44 and 45 MPWs. I needed these envelopes for my Jeep. So I went out ahead and bought a printer, got the images, did all the work, started printing them, and I now can sell those. And it goes into, I have the 1944 Ord 9, the Ord 7, Ord 8, the TM9 803 manual envelope, and then the 1945 manual envelope. And it depends on what the DOD of your Jeep is, which envelopes you'll get. So making those, printing. Also making these little guys, these are toe board gusset to frame pads for the GPWs. I got original examples, and I noticed that they were pretty much almost the exact same material that's used for the radiator seals. So I now make these very specific just for GPWs and just for the toe board gusset to frame pads. So those are something quick and easy to make. Something that I haven't really sold too much, and again, it was something that a friend of mine asked if I can make it, and I was able to. Are these little pads that go on Harley Davidson WLAs? They're little buffer pads, I think is what they're called, and they go in between I believe it's the gas tank and oil tank on to frame. Most people don't use them. You never see them. You're never going to see it because it's in between the tank and the frame. But anybody that's really into the details, it's pretty much exactly the same as the original. So it's one of those little one-off kind of things, nothing special. And then started making fender welding for the Jeeps. Again, you can get these on a lot of the different vendors. The set that I have, it's okay. But when I like to go in and try to make it look more like the asphalt coating that they were. So I treat them, and it's not an asphalt coating, but they're treated and they're pretty much exactly the same as the originals, the same type of treatment to them. This I just started making, and typically I'll make them without the holes punched, because most people, well, I wouldn't say most people, but people using reproduction bodies and reproduction fenders, the holes may not line up like the original. So I'll sell them I can punch the holes if the people want them, or you get them without the holes and then you can just cut the holes yourself.
Yeah, I just scraped one of those off of one of my fenders.
Yeah, those should be pretty much the same. And then one thing that I've just started working on are the pads for the starter pedal on the CCKWs. It's the original Brothers CCW. I'm starting to make the pads. I had an NOS example I copied off of. I got the felt, and I haven't started selling these quite yet because I'm still working on the other pieces, the other felt pieces that go on the floors. I'm still working on that. So that's something that will be coming. And then the stencils. I don't have a stencil on hand other than, probably can't see it behind me what's on my Jeep, but I make I have the Willys factory font hood numbers, the GPW factory font, which was kind of hard because the Ford, when they put them on there, it wasn't very neat like the MVs were. So that was a little tricky to make. And then also make the factory font for the GMC and Chevy trucks. That one, I never saw anybody that had them, any examples or making them now. So that's available. And then I also have, for, I would say probably most of the people in the hobby, the motor pool side of it, I have a font that came from a wartime stenciling kit that, that you can use for your hood numbers, and I make them for the bumper and the bumperettes, unit markings, and all that. So it's a wide variety of different things, but again, it all came out of things that I wanted for my Jeep that I want to make a little bit better than what you can get. So it's all over the place.
So where do you think you're going to go next with this?
I don't know. Keep trying to see where I can go. See what else I can make. A lot of the stuff I do by hand. I don't have big, sewing machines like Farrell or Nick Hopper. So I try to do all the kind of smaller stuff, the one-off type of things that a lot of the bigger vendors, may just not have the time for. And it's not cost effective for them. So, I'll be looking towards more of the stuff on the trucks now that I'm working with my brother on that. And then, anything that I can see that people want or need, again, like I said, the small stuff for the Jeeps and all of that. But the radiator seals are keeping me busy. Unfortunately, like, for your set, I'm still waiting on the material, just like everything nowadays. Everything's on back order, or it's hard to get. So, but yeah, probably just keep going. Like I said, all the smaller stuff, little items here and there
No,
that add
it's December 2021. So if someone's watching this like 10 years from now, so you started this at the beginning of the COVID epidemic. So you've been doing this roughly about what, like 18 months or something,
yeah.
20 months, something like that. So how much has COVID impacted obviously it's helped your business in some ways, but what kind of struggles are you facing because of the pandemic?
Not too many. I mean, well, except for like right now, trying to get the material again for the radiator seals. That's like hit or miss. I ran into a little bit of a problem with that last year. A lot of people unfortunately had to wait about 2 months. I hate having people wait that long. I want to get them made and out to the people as soon as possible. But luckily, most everybody in the hobby is very patient. He understands, and a lot of times the guys are planning ahead anyway. They're not, they're trying to get the stuff now instead of when they actually need it, 6 months from now. So luckily that's been making it a little bit easier on me. But honestly, really, if it wasn't for COVID and me having to work from home, I mean, I'm not working from home anymore, so it takes a little bit longer to make everything, but COVID what got me going on it. So it's kind of helped a little bit, I guess.
Yeah, I think that's the case with a lot of different people. So, in the end, you're helping some people out, and you're turning out a good quality product. And, like I say, I knew of you before I knew who you were.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's good to hear, because like I said, I want to try to have everybody have the best, possible product for their Jeeps and the most accurate. And I'm all about the small little details, and that's why we restored my 45 like that. And if I could pass on that info to others, I want to help other people out, and I'm always getting asked questions and trying to help people out. And that's why the other thing I'll be working on, a little aside besides the vendor stuff, but slowly but surely working on the MV restoration standards for the MVPA.
Oh, great.
I know it'll be following up, Mike Wright's GPW one. It's still a few years out. There's a lot of info and a lot of work to be done on it. So it's still a ways out, but it's in the process, slowly but surely. So it's something, I wanted to work on, and, again, working on the 45 and doing the radiator seals and trying to do all that money kind of helps me go out and buy certain material, buy certain samples, buy different things so that I can use to write the guide, or excuse me, the standards.
Great. So where are you located? I'm guessing it's not Alabama or Texas from your accent.
No, I'm originally from Long Island, New York, but I'm currently in Maryland now, living here.
Okay.
I'm up in the Northeast.
Great. Anything else you want to add before we wrap this up?
No, that should be it.
Okay. Well, hey, thanks for joining us today. And, I appreciate your time. And how do people get in touch with you if they want to get some of your products?
Probably best way is Facebook Messenger. You can see me a lot on the Frontline Motor Pool page, Facebook page. I also run the factory class, G503 the factory G503 Facebook page. But Facebook Messenger is probably the best way. If not, my email is just my name, TJ Zackman 1 @gmail.com. Those are the two best ways to get in touch.
Great. Okay. Well, thanks. Thanks for joining us today. And again, it's TJ Zackman, who's the radiator seal guy, as well as a bunch of other stuff. So we look forward to what you're making in the future. So
Yeah, thanks. I
Hey,
appreciate it.
yeah, no problem. This concludes this episode of the Peep Show, and I'll see you guys on the next one.